Good morning, Suzanne.
Good morning, Deborah Leanne. A top of the morning to you.
Yeah, and
This,
it's going to be a new day without Grandmother Oak out in front. She has guarded this house and shaded this house and provided me so much constant companionship. So I'm a little bit in mourning.
I understand that. I actually was in mourning yesterday when you told me.
Yeah,
That's
so
that's hard.
I am going to go sit on a couple bits of her stump though before they drag it all away.
That would be good.
Ground in. Let's talk about this gene key, which I'm going to probably share all my misconceptions around it for years. Go ahead. Would you like to start?
Okay, so today we are talking about Gene Key 20. And this is from the Gene Key books written by Richard Rudd. And we're talking about different states of consciousness. And in the 20th key, we talk about the shadow being superficiality. But out of the shadow comes the gift, and the gift is self assurance.
Mm-hmm.
And then the siddhic state, or the highest essence, the angelic or beingness, is presence.
Yeah,
So it's known as the sacred Om, and the physiology of it is in the brainstem.
which is what you're cutting off to get to presence.
Get
Anyway,
out of your
now
head.
that I've jumped the gun, so for years, I have felt. I mean, this is potentially in my gene key profile. I don't know because I don't know my birth time. So I kind of play with a couple different ones. But if this is in my gene key or not, or in my profile, and it doesn't really matter because this is something that applies to us collectively, that shadow of superficiality, for a long time, I felt it was when people were like trying to be something they weren't, or it was the more false aura for false energy, false uh, external representation of ourselves,
Mm.
which it kind of is. But I love how he calls it. It's uh, like the addiction to busyness. It's like not being in life. It's like working so hard. Like if you look at an insect, and they're always so busy because they have a very short life and they have a purpose to do, and that's what they do. And we act like that, even though most of us live a little bit longer than most of us. Everybody lives longer than an insect. Well, not true. Some babies may not. But the point being is how do we express ourselves in that superficiality state? I mean, can you speak for yourself? Because I'm happy to talk about mine too.
Mm. Well, I definitely feel like that's when superficiality would occur when I'm not feeling connected to source.
So, what does
And
it look like for you? What do you do?
I'm I remember times in my life where I was super reactive. So I'd be hyperactive and completely like ping ponging off of life. Like I was just thinking about this while I was in the shower this morning, and I was talking to somebody yesterday about this, but there were times when I'd be in a circle of other people in my job, and emotionally I would take in their emotions, and I'd get flustered, and then I literally would start shaking and like be shouting. It was like a Tasmanian devil, like reactive, just
Okay. Yeah.
so
So,
hectic. Just got to get stuff. I'm sorry, I don't have time. I don't have time. I got to get this done. Kind of mentality. I mean, can you feel the energy of just like, no, I don't have time for that. I've got to do this, and this. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Who
And there
is
was that
that?
addiction to, well, so here's this is what, and I definitely recognize that, but I also think that this is such a mental plane that it keeps us in, like, we have to do things in order. We have to get these things done. We get the kids to school. We do this. We get our exercise done. We sit down and we do work. We, get done and then we make dinner. Then we go to bed. It's like it.
Don't,
There's
yeah,
this program that runs that keeps it, because that's the way our mind likes to organize life, which interestingly is not life. It's just a mental construct
construct of what.
of life. And it's how we, and I love that you had that frenetic energy, because that's what you see. I mean, it's like sometimes you watch these ants or these insects and they're so busy building. I gotta build, I gotta collect pollen. And, and I'm like, oh. I recognize that now, but it's taken me decades because I used to be so addicted to that busy full calendar. And if there was an hour, oh, I have an hour. I'm going to call so and so, go meet for coffee. Or I couldn't allow that space, because then what?
That, what? Then I'd have to be present.
What? What? Well, I'd have to fill it up with something to do, because I didn't want to be with myself. And so I look at that. Or even when we're not doing anything, what do? We pick up our phone, we get on TV, we have to be feeding our mind something for entertainment.
Mm,
So that to me is a different form of superficiality, but I guess it's the same one, because we're really not being true to who our divine energy is. And I find that fascinating. And there was one point, oh, I wish I knew it. I don't have access to my book right now, but there's one part where he said our mind is constructed of this ancient, DNA
mhm.
that's all about this insect mentality, survive, get things done. And it also has this current reality of like, oh, there's a lot more choice now. We have space and we can start learning to slow down and relax, and we're getting all of this spirituality coming at us right now, right? Like, how do we tap into nature? And so there's that. And then there's also that we also have the DNA of the future,
Right.
where we are all one, where we take collective breaths and exhale, and our every movement is creating some kind of reaction in the world. I mean, because we're all one. So
Right.
no wonder it feels very confusing in there. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot happening. Um, so I talked a little bit about reactive nature because I really had a tendency to be hectic and make things more difficult for myself because I was,
And others.
and others, because I was in that mode of my mind and like having to get everything done. I was very type A and very like, it's got to be done this way. And it was very compartmentalized and blah, blah, blah. Can you imagine? Like, okay, I love myself. Yes, I am very organized. I don't need to be reactive though.
Right. I
I
mean,
can choose, I
but
can
look how
choose the
you
different.
evolve. This is why we have to go through those stages, is because it pushes us into our evolution.
Right.
So if we could just learn to love that, thank you,
Yeah,
training time I went through there.
that's amazing. And I feel so much better now.
Right.
Oh, goodness gracious. And I actually do Ho'oponopono prayer for all those people that I affected for so many years with my crazy making. Okay. So the repressive nature is absent, otherwise known as distant. And this is a very introverted nature where then you can see the blankness in somebody's eyes. It's like the emptiness of it all.
Yeah.
And it's like they're frozen by some intense fear, subconscious, unconscious fear, and they're not living life. They're just
Checked out.
checked out. Yeah. So there's got to be something beautiful that's birthed out of this, and that's the gift.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful.
Well, and self-assurance is such a beautiful, to me, that feels, uh, sometimes the words he uses, I question because I'm like, word, because it feels weird in my body, but self-assurance feels like,
Mm,
oh, it's the
yeah,
beginning of the relaxing, right? And
yeah.
seeing how we're connected and into the interconnectedness of everything. And did you, there's a whole beautiful quote in the book around this is the environment that children need to grow up in, is having
Hmm.
self-assured caregivers, parents, teachers.
Yeah.
And there's a beautiful, like, do you see the string of all of the gifts that he lists in there? Can you put your hands on that? It's top of the page under gifts.
Yes. Okay. So, what I will begin is that he says, this gift is in fact a precursor to the higher states of spiritual awareness because it's divine relaxation. You begin to discover that decisions in life simply get made,
Ugh.
and there's no point in agonizing over them. We make a decisions and we see what shakes out. And we don't need to be fearful of making decisions. We just make a decision.
Well, and this is something I'm trying to figure out how to teach leaders because decision making is such a big
Well,
portion for
because
many
well,
because the
because
fear of making the wrong
the
decision.
fear of making the wrong decision. Exactly.
Anyway, go ahead.
Exactly.
All right, but I love that.
Yes.
I'm like,
Right.
ooh, that's a good nugget.
Yeah. So, for a child to grow up truly self-assured, you need to model altruism while remaining detached, which is the 42nd, and encourage invention, which is the 24th,
Ah,
innovation, which is the third key, and above all, simplicity, which is the 23rd key.
oh my gosh.
So these 5 keys can become the foundation of a complete life system for parents, and a contemplation on them can lead to a profound sense of freedom for both the children and the parents. Those 5 keys.
Those are, you know what? They bring such a calming energy to my system. I think I might use them as well to contemplate for mothering me,
Mm-hmm.
for
Yeah.
that self-soothing that you call it. I love
Mm-hmm.
that. Thank you. Yeah, that sentence really jumped out at me because I thought, what kind of world would we have if
Yeah.
you had to take a self-assurance test before you had a baby?
I want you to feel really good about yourself and not reactive. Yeah. Well, and when I think about divine relaxation, that I mean, you're talking about your whole somatic system, but how about creating habits? I'm just thinking about this. How about creating habits where we connect to our divine? And this isn't something outside of us, it's just a part of who we are. But if we come from that, then you are in divine relaxation because you're always connected. So you're not going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to make a mistake. There are no mistakes.
That was another part. Did you see that around we tend to start allowing a higher presence to guide our lives, to feel like we're being guided and helping make those decisions and so forth. And that was fascinating because he said very often we start with some external guides, angels, religious, icons, or we finally realize that that's our higher self that we're growing into guiding us. And then it brings it back in to us, which is what allows us to step more closely into the civic state of presence. But I thought that was fascinating because I think so often we tend to think of, oh, my higher guides, they're telling me and so then this morning I was talking to my guides and I said, I still need you. I want you. I want to feel your presence holding me. And thank you for holding me so that I can hear I can hear my higher wisdom.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting conversation. I thought I'd share with you.
Yeah. Well, and this key of presence is only really accessed through surrendering and patience and trust. And so it's building that muscle with your guidance system.
Right. Oh,
And that's why you don't need to be in the reactive nature. You can
no, no,
it's
because I mean, well, we need to be in the receptive and the
right.
responding versus the reactive just feels so tight and yeah, emotional.
Whirling dervish.
Yeah. So we're I guess it would probably be when we start talking about presence, but I want to know, how do we weave in those seven body?
Oh, yeah. You know, when you get to pure presence, it's like I don't want to get there yet.
I know. I know, because then
Because
you like check out of everything.
you completely check out of the good stuff that we came here for.
Because none of this matters. And you
None
don't
of it.
even want to put words because there's no way to describe it. When he said that, I thought, oh, that's why when we tap into those higher states, we can only just visit them, temporarily. And that's what makes them so beautiful. So for me right now, I'm happy to pop in and out of that state of presence, but I don't think I'm ready to be there full time either, because then I wouldn't want to be, I don't know, I guess I
Right.
wouldn't care where I was, but I don't
Right.
know, physically we don't care. We don't even care about eating or
Right.
sleeping.
Exactly. Exactly. And so we just wouldn't be here anymore.
Yeah. So
But it
this,
is but presence is the underlying theme of nature. It's being, it's
it's
being
living.
aware of itself
Yeah.
too, it's being in that present moment at all times. I
Well,
mean,
that's how I've always described it, is can you
right.
tap in and be in this present moment, which to me is also coming from a place that then you operate with self-assurance, I think. But it's the tapping into the presence of, I don't want to be in the future. I don't want to be in the past. I want to be right here, right now. And
Yeah.
um, and that's
That's
what
why.
the divine Om and all of that does, right? It brings us,
And when I feel into what it feels like in being in presence, I mean, is there really a difference between a divine essence of presence or pure presence, like you and me talking right now and putting the world on pause and feeling and smelling coffee and like being here, as opposed to being distracted by 50 million other things and me going, oh, just wait a minute, Deborah, hold on.
yeah. See, that's how I've always described presence.
Right.
But his takes it to like this quintessential level.
Right.
And I feel like we're having embodied presence dialogue is what I would call this, where
Right.
you feel me feeling you, I feel you feeling me. There's a deeper connection because we are in this moment. We're not thinking about, is anybody ever going to watch this, which as soon as I think that takes me out of the conversation. So 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 I want to talk about, because this is the highest of those 8 states of being. He uses that conversation of like the eighth is like the pure white that makes up all of the other colors. The eighth is the chord at the end of the octave. It's the
Oh, yeah.
culmination. It's the highest essence, if you will.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. So when he uses that, he uses a lot of musical
Oh, yeah.
terminology.
Do you want
And
me to read that paragraph?
yeah, because it
Okay.
goes into that whole different levels.
Yeah, it's the seven sacred bodies of humanity. And so, the 20th siddhi relates to the mystical nature of the octave. And the transcendent note that begins, ends, and links together all vibrations throughout the universe in which we live. It also is the 8th color, the pure white, containing all the other 7 colors. And that, which is also brings us back to the number 0.
Yeah.
The blackness out of which all form arises. Above all, it is the sacred breath that unites the realms of both light and sound, allowing us to enter completely into consciousness as pure existence.
So gorgeous. So that logoic 8th level of the bodies, I am really wanting to play with those bodies in terms of what we might do in the school of light. I was thinking that would be such an amazing contemplation to take the physical. And like you were suggesting the other day, let's do this physical challenge where we clean out and clean and clear, and not just our physical space, but our bodies, and kind of do that. And then we could move into what would it mean to be in the atmic, and in the the
Yes.
causal, the buddhic, and all of those different levels, because I think that would be fascinating to do in community, and learn from each other as we experience it.
Yes.
So
Huh.
maybe we might actually get a better sense of what this presence feels like by doing that, going through
Going through the different
the
sacred
different levels, or the different colors, if you want to call it that.
sacred bodies
Mhm.
of humanity. Ooh, yeah.
It gets me excited. So anyway, maybe I'll do that, because I'm just it did one of those zing in my body this morning. So I was like,
Ooh.
that means yes. So let's close with your beautiful. Would you lead us, please?
Sure. I don't have an e note on me, but I also created a meditation where we can do this. So,
Mm,
but what I can do is we're going to take some 3 nice, easy breaths, and we're going to om together 3 times.
okay.
Okay. Just prepare yourself. And on the 3rd exhale, you're going to om. Okay. So take a nice inhale.
That's not.
That's not it.
Let's take another nice deep breath.
Take another nice deep breath. And on the next exhale, om. Om.